Las niñas bien, a film by Alejandra Márquez Abella. Text written by Jodie McNeilly-Renaudie. It's 1982. Mexico is catapulting into the economic deprivations of an international debt crisis that we know the country never recovers from. Sofía de Garay is throwing a lavish birthday party for herself with the social nobility of Mexico's old money in attendance, a world where she is queen. Sofía appears as the flawless face of her country's economic success that every part of her being exudes while ultimately embodying its fragility. The opening images of writer and director Alejandra Márquez Abella's Las Niñas Bien support the dreamy, sensuous world of beauty and perfection that extreme wealth and a devotion to accumulating an assortment of capital for recognition can bring. Jewels sparkle, gowns glisten in reflected multitude. Makeup and hair radiate a purity one can only soil as the value of these things, reduced to nothing more than a few measly pesos. The creamy lighting and circular gliding movements of the camera, by Dariela Ludlov, that follow Sofía socializing in her kingdom, smooth out any blemishes or cracks of truth with calculated artifice.
¿Y tu marido no viene a comer?
Ay, mi marido. No, casi nunca.
Oh, mi sueño dorado.
Me dice Ale que está en los negocios, ¿no?
Tiene una casa de bolsa y le va muy bien.
The economic and political crisis erupts. The water shortages are no longer just an inconvenience, but the mark of a failing infrastructure. Those who fall quickly, and are ostracized with silent contempt and arrogant pity. Television reports and dinner conversation allow us to understand its severity, but are swiftly truncated by Sofía, who denies these realities until her husband's business crashes. The credit cards fail, checks bounce, and the turn-off affection and veneration amongst her inner cycle shifts to the new social elite, where money made from exchange markets is no longer concentrated in the hands of sophisticated families with lineages to Spain, but tacky dollar changers who know little about the fineries of existence.
Te juro que me da angustia pensar si va a traer los pupilentes verdes o los morados, te lo juro. Verdes. ¿Qué quieres ajustar?
La que pierda le lanza un beso al portero. Ya, empieza a tocar lo que sea.
The beginning of the end for Mexico and Sofía is captured in two noteworthy scenes. In the grotesqueness of an empty department store, Sofía's material downfall is first felt but unrecognized. Her obliviousness echoed in the hollow stares of mannequins that dominate every frame in this shopping sequence. There is a strong sense of a fakeness in the mausoleum of slim-limbed figures that do not fit the clothing, a doubling that the dead themselves would bring more life to. Sofía drifts vacuously between. Her moment to fully recognize the end of a more than comfortable life is nigh. A life, while for some would be the ultimate fantasy, is for Sofía mundane. Family and her fickle friends are not enough, so she needs to fantasize running away with the Spanish singer Julio Iglesias. From this are we to understand that it is never the subject of our fantasies that fuel the futural transcendence of quotidian life? Humans will continue to project all sorts of imaginaries to overcome the facticity of their being, even when it looks like we have everything. Abella brings the necessity of this idea home in other scenes, acknowledging the absurdness of this human weakness when entangled in the precariousness of a market economy.
Nos van a quitar todo. Así que prepárate.
Es mi fiesta de cumpleaños. Todos me miran.
Gracias por invitarnos.
Los cubiertos de plata, las copas de vino blanco.
Oye, ¿y qué te regaló Fernando?
Un gran marquís, color champán.
Tiene doble mérito, ¿no? Sí, digo, con todo lo que está pasando.
The kids' party scene is a penultimate moment of breakdown for Sophia. Having just learned that her husband's bankruptcy is final, keeping up appearances fails in its wake. The chronology of this sequence is scrambled to great temporal effect, with Sophia's presence at the party erupting in uncivilized behavior. She can no longer tuck in, rearrange, smooth out, or poke behind the ears. With a desperate reflex that is fearless of consequence, she takes what she can from who she can. These small crises are still very contained to preserve the propriety of the social game. The tension akin to a Jane Austen who compellingly draws us into polite society with subtle ingenuity.
El día de hoy, el valor del dólar vuelve a subir.
Una disculpa, señora, pero el banco no me está dando autorización.
But ultimately, do we learn anything from Sophia? Fundamentally, there is no deep moral change or positive rupture in Sophia's understanding of herself and values. How she might be different in the world without all that money and status. Rather, she holds steadfast to her good girl grooming. She is a posh Catholic schoolgirl whose daddy is a dollar changer and who finally becomes the joke, barking at the president in public, seducing the successful husband of her tackiest of friends, and ripping out her shoulder pads in a symbolic shift from her former dress where they were stitched in like towers to fortify her power and good taste. There are many semiotically rich gestures in decor, costume, behavior, and dialogue like these from Abella that permit us to paradoxically see the depth of shallowness in this character that we simultaneously admire and loathe.
Hay una mariposa negra en la pared de la sala. El jardinero me dice que hay que esperar a que se salga sola, si no es de mala suerte. Es mi fiesta de cumpleaños. Traigo el vestido marfil que me compré en Nueva York.
While set in the 1980s, with an intimate focus on a character in a very wealthy middle-class setting, Abella's work joins other Mexican filmmakers like Roma by Alfonso Cuarón and Restos de Viento by Jimena Montemayor Loyo, in offering a different portrayal of their place to the depictions of drug-related crime, terrible poverty, and trespassing of the border. These films can only help to recalibrate misconceptions and negative attitudes disseminated by non-Mexican filmmaking.
La casa está preciosa, llena de gente. Todos me miran. Entre los invitados está Julio Iglesias. Se me acerca, me dice que me ama, me toma la mano, me lleva con él a España y vivimos en el Corte Inglés.
Las niñas bien, a film by Alejandra Márquez Abella. Text written by Jodie McNeilly-Renaudie.